My name is Emily England, and I'd like to share with you the top 5 reasons why you should hire me as your English teacher. 5 reasons that you should hire me as a teacher at your school is because of my experience in creating and organizing a debate club. At Jacksonville Commons Middle School, I noticed that my students were really struggling with being able to rationally disagree with one another. Because of this, I decided to start a debate club. In my debate club, my students learned how to effectively debate about a wide variety of controversial topics. They also learned how to support their argument with strong evidence. Lastly, they were able to improve their public speaking skills, which is a really important part of our ELA standards. The number 4 reason that you should hire me as a teacher at your school is because of my experience with integrating cross-curriculum instruction into the classroom. For example, when I was a teacher at Jacksonville Commons Middle School, my team and I got together and planned a project-based learning unit on the Holocaust. In my English classroom, the students read the Diary of Anne Frank. Then, in history, they learned from primary and secondary sources about the Holocaust. In math class, they graphed statistics from the Holocaust. And finally, in science class, they learned about how racism affected water quality. The greatest benefit that my students got from this was that they made the connection between the subjects, which in turn helped them place value on what they were learning. Most importantly, they continued the conversation throughout the day, and they were critically thinking about the subject they had been taught. The number 3 reason that you should hire me is because I lead a data-driven classroom. I'd like to share with you one of my favorite websites that I use in order to do this. This is a website called GradeCam. So as you can see, this was a quiz over the standard 8.4. So overall, you can see that my students scored a 70%. So I need to figure out, okay, what am I going to do the next day in order to make sure that my students are mastering this standard. So I go up here into item analysis, and here I get a picture of the individual questions, and I can see, for example, number 5, over 50% of my students did not get this correct. So this is something that I would definitely need to go over again. Now, this is great for an overall picture, but I need to see how my students are doing individually. When it comes time to contacting parents, having students stay after for remediation, I need to take a look into how they are doing. So in order to do this, I can easily just take a look at this where it's all color-coded, and I can easily pick out the students that are going to need to stay after or that I need to do remediation on. This is just one example of the many ways that I lead a data-driven classroom. The number 2 reason that you should hire me is because of my use of technology in the classroom to prepare my students to be 21st century learners. Here are a few examples of some of my favorite technological platforms that I've used in the past. Kahoot is an online quiz game that makes learning fun and competitive for students. Today's Meet encourages student participation. This is especially beneficial for those shyer students that have a hard time participating in class. Lastly, I use the Kik app to allow students to communicate with me after school hours. This is a quick and easy way for them to shoot me a question if they need help with their homework. The number 1 reason why you should hire me as a teacher at your school is because of my passion for my subject and ultimately my passion for my students to succeed. I strive to make literature come to life through engaging activities and honest dialogue about the characters' lives and how they relate to my students. I'd like to close with a quote from one of my favorite authors, Mark Twain, who once said, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs, ask yourself what makes you come alive." Literature makes me come to life, and if I can transfer that passion onto my students, I will have done my job as a teacher.